عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم علمت أن الإسلام يهدم ما كان قبله وأن الهجرة تهدم ما كان قبلها وأن الحج يهدم ما كان قبله. I bear witness there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Dear brothers and sisters, today I'm going to talk about Israel. Every year we are getting a new year. And whenever new year comes, we mainly focus on the month of Muharram, the significance of Muharram, the events of the Muharram, the incident of the Muharram. But we barely focus on the Hijrah, the importance of Hijrah. The month of Hijrah is the origin, is significance of Hijrah. Today, inshallah, I will focus on the historical roots of the Hijrah and its significance, in Islam. So, what is the meaning of Hijrah? Normally, we say that Hijrah means migration, this immigration. The people move from one place to another place, one country to another country, one continent to another continent. Like if you look at the mosque, we can say each and every one is immigrated from different countries, except the children, those born in this country. So we came here for different reasons. Some countries, the long war, the people is difficult to survive or save their life. Then they migrate from their own country to another country. Some countries have serious natural calamities. So in order to get food and for the safety, they also migrate from one country to another country. And also people also migrate for better life, economic reasons. And some people also migrate for higher education. Like I came in this country for higher education, but after that I settled here. So for different reasons, people are migrating from one country to another country, one continent to another country, one continent to another continent. But this migration is not a new phenomenon. Rather, it is a very old phenomenon. If you look at the history of this migration started from the first prophet, Adam alayhi salam, and his children. The Prophet alayhi salam first migrated from heaven to this earth. And then they made, he and his wife met in present-day Mecca. And from there, later on, their children also migrated from Mecca to present-day Palestine. And they settled there. And also you can see about the migration of Musa alayhi salam, about the migration of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Those are mentioned in the Quran. They also migrated from, for instance, the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. The whole life he migrated from one place to another place, and finally he settled in present-day Palestine. Okay, where his graveyard we can find. And Musa alayhi salam migrated from Egypt to Canaan. Right, and from there he came back, this Egypt, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him to go back and convey the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the Pharaoh. So this migration, and it still is continuing. So there are two different kinds of migration you can find: is physical migration and is spiritual migration. And physical migration also here you can see that the first Native Americans, those came to this land, is according to the Western history, is 10 to 32,000 BC, they migrate in this country. So it means that it's a long time ago. And these people, even until the recent years, you can see that they were, had a temporary life. They always moved from one place to another place. They did not have permanent the place to live. Why they did it? Because they did not know how to cultivate, how to produce crops. Okay, they didn't know how to do the irrigation. They didn't have any irrigation system. That's why they were hunter and gatherers. They always moved from one place to another place. And they had a portable house that is called tipis. So this migration, and later on we can see this, the European countries came into this land. Some people came for better life, and some people also came for religious purposes. For instance, pilgrims and Puritans. Pilgrims and Puritans, they came from England to this country for religious persecution. Pilgrims directly came to this country, but Puritans, they went to Netherlands, because in England, when they talk against the British ruler, the British ruler tried to kill them. So in order to save their life, as well as their religious activities, they migrate to this country. So, and these Puritans, when they went to Netherlands, they found that their children are adopting Dutch culture rather than their Christian culture. And from there, they again migrate to the North America. So look at this. These Christian people also migrated from one country to another country for religious purposes. Now, so this, but Western historians say that the early people were uncivilized barbarians, and they didn't know how to cultivate the crops. That's why they moved from one place to another place. But according to Islamic history, you can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very clearly mentions in the Holy Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught everything Adam alayhi salam. It means that when Adam alayhi salam came to this country, this world, he came with a full knowledge, divine knowledge. Therefore, what Western historians saying that the early peoples, they were hunter-gatherers during Ice Age or during Stone Age, the Paleolithic periods. The people didn't know how to cultivate. The people didn't know how to cook. They ate raw meats. But which is, the different from the Islamic history, because Allah taught everything to Adam alayhi salam, and that teaching is continued from generation to generation. Therefore, all the people from the early to today, they have deep knowledge about how to survive in this land. Now, if someone say that today, if you go to Australia, in Australia, if you go to forest, you can find some Aboriginal people. Still, they are naked people. They are fully naked. They are living in the forest. If you go to African countries, there are so many thousands of people that are fully naked. They are living in the forest. So if you say that, you see, they are uncivilized people, and we are the world is uncivilized. But if you look at the Western world, we are the peak of Western civilization. But still, you can find some people are really uncivilized and they are fully naked, living in the forest. Therefore, what do the Western people say about the migration? That is wrong, and I am not agree with that. Now, come to this, historical or the spiritual, the meaning of the migration, and then I will go to physical, the meaning of migration according to Islam. Imam an-Nasai reported an authentic hadith narrated, and mentioned that someone asked the Prophet Muhammad, one of the companions asked the Prophet Muhammad, the O Messenger of Allah, who is immigration? The Hijrah is the best. The Prophet replied, to leave what your Lord dislike. So this migration will never ever stop. Because here the Prophet said that we have to migrate from bad deeds to good deeds, from bad action to good action. So the Muslim is one who avoid harming Muslim with his tongue and hands, and the muhajir, immigrant, is the one who gives up, abandon all Allah has forbidden. It means that another hadith, there is narrator Abdullah ibn Amr, the Prophet said that. So we have a good Muslim is he who, this always keep away or migrate from all bad action to the good action. Therefore, migration is not just about leaving one homes or land, but it has a wider impact, and it hence becomes essential for every Muslim for being an immigrant. So every one of us should migrate from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam hate to which they like and encourage us to do. For instance, it is about migration from bad to good, migration from evil deeds to righteous deed, migration from sins to repentance, migration from abandoning the prayers to establishing the prayer, migration from abstaining of giving zakah to performing zakah, migration from adultery to marrying, migration for stealing to earning in honest halal money, migration from uttering lies to speaking the truth, and migration from being mean to becoming generous, and so on. So therefore, the migration is a part of transfer to a healthy and productive life. And as a Muslim, we should be living in a continuous state of migration. We should not only migrate from bad deeds to good deed, but we should also migrate from a low level to the upper level. As the Prophet Muhammad said that, if your today is not better than yesterday, then you're the loser. So we have to always struggle to move up in our actions. Okay? So this migration, this is a very important thing. Okay? So we have to continuously do good actions and unless you try to do more good actions in order to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, about the physical migration. Physical migration, as I have mentioned, the ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, Allazina amanu wa hazaru wa zahadu fi sabilillahi bi amwalihim wa anfusihim a'zamu darajatan indallahi wa ulaika humul faizun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that the one who have believed, immigrated, and striven or struggle in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with their wealth and their lives are greater in rank in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is those who are attains. So Surah Tawbah, verse number 20, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very clearly mentioned that is this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala they will get the highest rank to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are who believe and immigrate and striving or struggle in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with their wealth and their life. So the hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not to escape temptation and torture of his people, Meccan people. It was the starting point to establish the Muslim nation, a Muslim community based on Islam, the universal divine message they call for morality and human rights. That was the very purpose of the Prophet Muhammad hijrah to Medina. And he performed his role perfectly, and he put the foundation of a sound Muslim community and established the best nation ever created on earth. So if you look at the socio-economic condition of Makkah and Medina, then you can see before the establishment of the Islamic society, Islamic state in Medina, it was really very vulnerable. People did not have any dignity, especially the women. The women did not consider as a human being. They consider as a property. But Islam is the only religion that first gave the rights and dignity to the women. And the Prophet Muhammad said that Jannah is under the feet of your mom. That when in the Arabia, they use the woman like a cloth without giving any dignity, any rights. And Islam came forward to give the highest honor and rights to the women. And it was possible of the Islamic state. Without establishing the Islamic state, it was not be possible to give those rights to the women. So therefore, the hijrah is not only reshape socially and politically the Arab Peninsula, but also the impact on worldwide civilization. Throughout the history of Islam, the migration was a transitional line between the two major eras regarding to the message of Islam, the era of Makkah and the era of Medina. In this essence, this signifies a transition from one phase to another. Number one transition, which is the most significantly for early Muslim, to the phase in which Islam was not only the act of worship, but a way of life. This was encompassing the politics, economy, social interactions, and every other aspect of life. This was the first time when Islam was looked upon as a comprehensive religion. In Makkah, it was not possible. If you look at the Quranic verses that were revealed in the Meccan period, basically focus on Tawheed, Risala, and Akhirah. But if you look at the Medinan Quranic verses, those revealed after the Hijrah, they discuss, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala discuss a comprehensive way of life. How to perform our life, how to rule the society, how to govern the country, our zakat, fitra, sadaqah, our family life, society, everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in those verses. So therefore, it was a very significant transitions for the Muslim. Second transitions from a position where a Muslim represented a small group of people surrounded by enemies and threatened by that in Makkah to the positions of regional power with a strong central leadership, which was one that was surrounded by a large number of followers and allies. So in Makkah, you see a small group of people, and always it was a life-threatening for them because of Makkah and Quraysh. But when they migrated to Medina, then they have established Islamic State, and the Muslim becomes a large number, and it was a very peaceful society. Number third transitions from being a simple Islamic group of believers to being the Islamic nation. This was the organized Islamic State with a central leadership in other organization. So Makkah, there was no leadership. Because Makkah people did not the Prophet as a leader. But when he migrated to Medina, then he was able to establish his leadership, in Islamic State. Fourth, transitions of Dawah from regionalism, in which the focus only on Quraysh and the tribes surrounding Makkah, to the phase of universalism. This is where the Muslim state began reaching out to Persia, Egypt, and Byzantine Empire. So during Meccan period, they focus only, Meccan pagan people. But after the migrations, not only in Medina, they beyond the Medina. Okay, so the Prophet ﷺ was able to convey the message to in other nations. And fifth transitions is from the position of the weakness, where the non-believers of Makkah, particularly the people of Quraysh, humiliated, tortured, and killed Muslims, to the position of security. And this is where the Muslims are allowed to defend themselves and were able to defeat their adversaries. And finally, the sixth transitions from spreading Islam through individual dawah, inviting others to Islam, to the spreading of Islam through institutionalized dawah, initiated the state. Before it was individually they are making dawah, but after the establishment of Islamic State in Medina, it became an institutionalized, organized dawah. So during the Prophet ﷺ, and you can see, after his demise, the Prophet ﷺ, the companies also, they migrate, all over the world, where they extremely did the dawah program. So as a Muslims, we have to continue this mission. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Dear brothers and sisters, as I mentioned about this, the significance of the migrations of the Prophet ﷺ, physical and spiritual. As I told you that the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, they were very aggressive about their dawah program. When the Prophet ﷺ passed away, even during his lifetime, so many companions of the Prophet ﷺ, they migrated. They moved from Medina to other countries. And you can see during the Prophet's the pilgrimage, in his last sermon, there are about, according to the history, more than 100,000 companions are gathered in Mecca, in Arafah. But if you look at the graveyard, how many people, the companions' graveyard you can find in Saudi Arabia? Maybe 20, 30,000. What happened to others, companions? You can find their graveyards in other countries. What are the reasons for their migrations? Only for Islam. They went there to spread the news of Islam, to convey the message of Islam to the other countries. Like in Indonesia, it was a fully Hindu country. And a companion migrated there in Sumatra, and he, first conveyed the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the king in Sumatra, and they accepted Islam. And as a result, the whole country's people converted to Islam. In Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, from where we got Islam? That is for the companions. They sacrificed their comfortable life in Medina, in Makkah. They sacrificed their families. They migrate to those lands, and they stay there, permanently settled there. They convey the message of Islam to the local people. As a matter of fact, we are Muslim today. So we is purposefully, intentionally, or unintentionally, or with a different, the reasons we came to this country. We should not forget the main target, main purpose of a Muslim. We came to this country. We must convey the message of Islam to other, the non-Muslim people, those are living around us. If we do not convey this message, in the day of judgment, they will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they are the people, the Muslim people, they are our neighbors, but never ever convey the message of Islam to us. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, those people, you see, they convey the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, call them as the best people. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And who is better in his speech than one who invites to Allah and does righteousness and say, indeed, I am the Muslims. In Surah Al-Imran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, Kuntum khayra ummati ukhrijat lin-nas ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best people. You are raised for humanity. You encourage good and forbid evil, and I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, we must continue our dawah program. And there are so many groups, doing this dawah program, like Muslim of North America. They are doing their dawah program. As a Muslim, we must come forward and help them, join with them, and continue this mission. Otherwise, in the day of judgment, it will be very difficult to get the salvation in the hereafter. And I can give you the one good news about that. You see, what we are praying, like we are praying 5 times, we are fasting. All these good deeds will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. There is no certainty, there is no guarantee about that, because we are doing a lot of mistakes in our prayer. But there is a guarantee, according to the hadith, there is a guarantee that if we convey the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we change one person, and his all good deeds, all righteous actions, this benefit will come to in our record without lowering their benefits. So please let us work together and convey the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to our non-Muslims into this country, and in this way we can change the society. And let us work hard and increase our actions from low level to higher level. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك اشهد ان لا اله الا انت واستغفرك واتوب اليه. ربنا ظلمنا انفسنا وان لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمه انك انت الوهاب. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. اللهم اعني على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. اللهم انك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من البراس والجنون والجذام ومن سيء الأسقام. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. سبحان الله وبحمده أعوذ خلقي ورضا نفسي وزنة عرشي ومداد كلماتي. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. أقيموا الصلاة.